Alright, man, so the 2020 NBA draft will remember for 3 things specific. Number 1, it was held during the worldwide pandemic and the peak of the pandemic. Number 2, there was 3 clear prospects over everyone else, but no one else knew where anyone else was going to go because this was deemed as a weak draft class. And number 3, this draft produced a lot of good role players and a lot of future role players because, I mean, hey, this was deemed as a weak draft. Number 1, not a lot of superstar talent like the 2021 NBA draft, but I mean, hey, a lot of these dudes turned into really good role players and could easily be great role players in the future. So this draft did something, good, I guess. Alright, man, so if you haven't read the title already or checked the thumbnail, I will be going over 5 players from the 2020 NBA draft that could definitely improve this upcoming season after having pretty mediocre rookie seasons. Alright, so since I got like an overtime, video of him already up here, we're going to start off with Killian Hayes, I don't even know what you want to call him. Is he a point guard? I'm going to say a point guard. The point guard for the Detroit Pistons. Killian technically is a point guard, by the way. Now, they do have K Cunningham, but I do think K is going to be the shooting guard if they want to be successful, at least. That's just how I think of it. Alright, so with Killian, we're going to start off with his stats right away. And his stats don't look great on paper because obviously he only played a few games, as some of y'all might know. He tore his labrum early on in the season. I think it was like after the 8th game of the season, he tore his labrum in his hip. And coming back from a hip injury is rough. And y'all know, like Tua in football, Tua, he came off a hip injury in college. IT for the Celtics back in the day, he injured his hip, and obviously we seen kind of how his career went. But the fact that Killian tore his labrum at such a young age, and is in his rookie season, we didn't know how he was going to turn out, and he actually finished off the season pretty strong, not gonna lie. Alright, so this season Killian Hayes averaged 6.8 points per game, 2.7 rebounds, and 5.3 assists on 35.3% shooting from the field, then another 27.8% from the 3-point line, and 82.4% from the free throw line. This all equals to around a 42.2 true shooting percentage. Now, to start off with Killian, as y'all can tell by the clips, he is left-handed, okay? And there's nothing wrong with being left-handed in basketball. Actually, if you are left-handed, you can easily get an advantage against your opponents. But the thing with Killian is he does not use his right hand whatsoever. Last season, if you're a Pistons fan, you would know, if watching those Pistons games, Killian would not use his right hand. And that's tough. Being a left-handed player is great, but on top of that, if you can't use your right hand, you're pretty much useless, because if you're forced to go left or forced to play make through your left, you're not gonna do anything. So that's the first thing. The second thing is he's an inefficient scorer and isn't aggressive. And I know that's kind of hard to say, but the thing with Killian is he's a big guard. Number 1, he's 6'5". He has a solid wingspan. I think it's like, I want to say in the realm of like 6'8". But the thing with Killian is he's a big point guard, and he didn't use it a lot last year. Obviously, he's a great passer and a great playmaker through his passing, but he doesn't score the ball. And his jump shot's a little, I want to say it's NBA speed, but it's not the quickest jumper, especially for him being a point guard. So with that being said, he has the build of a combo guard, but he's mainly a point guard as of right now. And with that being said, he has a slow jumpers. The next thing that's actually good for Killian is his defense. Killian's a really good defender. Well, for his age at least. He's a really good defender for his age. I mean, I think he's like 19, 20 years old. 20 years old, solid defender for, a second-year player. Last year being a rookie, he showed flashes of him being, a solid defender in this NBA. And, yeah, I mean, he's honestly a really good defender for at least a rookie. In rookie standards, he was a pretty good defender. And the best thing going for Killian, I think it's pretty easy to say. It's his passing. Killian's passing ability is second to none for his age range. And he's a really, really good passer. I mean, I know I said that already, but, like, he's a great passer. And I think last season he had a lot of flashes where, he had a lot of lobs to Beef Stew and a lot of lobs to Jay Grant. And then on top of that, he had some like bounce passes and, some like no look passes. I mean, just a lot of passes that you were like, oh yeah, he's a solid playmaker through his passing. But he averaged 6 assists per game. And I don't know his passer rating or his box creation. I'm not going to do the math on that because it wasn't showing up on back picks. But, I would assume it was pretty high because, I mean, he was able to pass the ball quite a bit. And, I mean, he was the lead point guard on the team, so take it for what you want. Killian also kind of got crazy in the weight room this summer. I think it looked like he gained at least, I want to say, anywhere from 10 to 20 pounds. So he's definitely much bigger than what you're seeing in these, clips, because these clips are from, 2 years ago. But, I mean, hey, he's a bigger guard. The 2 things that he really needs to work on is that left hand and shooting. Otherwise, I think it's just staying healthy and being consistent. And I think Killian Hayes will be all right. I mean, and he has K Cunningham on his team now, so that backcourt finna go crazy. They run a lot of motion, a lot of how do I say this, pick and pops, for guards, which is insane. Their off-ball movement, especially Cade's, his off-ball movement is amazing with Killian. Alright, now I do know this dude in the clips right now that you're seeing was not in the 2021 NBA draft, but he technically is a second-year player this upcoming season. So we're going to use him, and he's a fan favorite amongst a lot of NBA fans, and he's a Denver Nugget. So, I mean, I like this dude a lot. Y'all already know. It's Bol Bol. And the thing with Bol is he's a very, very interesting player. Number one, he's 7'2", but then on top of that, he almost has a 7'10" wingspan, and he has the skills of like a dude who is 6'3" and plays the guard. And I mean, the thing with Bol is he's just really long and tall, pause, but then on top of that, he kind of plays like a guard, as I literally just mentioned. So with that being said, Bol's a very intriguing player. Last season, he didn't play much. When he did come in, it was in peanut minutes, and he would probably perform like a highlight reel, dunk, or either just a step back three or a casual three-pointer that wouldn't go in. He's an inefficient player when he does get a lot of minutes, and when he is able to score, his field goal percentage is not that great. The shots he takes are very questionable, and I mean, let's just say he did play a lot of minutes, his true shooting will be really, really bad. I mean, genuinely, because he's just not the best shot taker. He's not the best shot maker. I mean, on top of that, he's really raw. And when he comes in, he might get a foul or a travel, because he's just so inexperienced and he hasn't played the game, NBA level wise for a long time. But then on top of that, he barely played in college, So, I mean, it's kind of rough for Bol. But we are going to get into Bol Bol and his statistics. Alright, so I don't think Bol Bol played more than 35 games this season. But in the games he did play, he averaged 2.2 points per game, 0.8 total rebounds, 0.2 total assists. And for efficiency, he averaged 43.1 field goal percentage, 37.5 three-point percentage, and 66.7% from the free throw line. This all equals to around a 53.4 true shooting percentage and a -4 relative true shooting percentage. Alright, so look. Bol might not be that efficient. Bol might not put up crazy numbers. Bol might have only played like under 60 career NBA games. Yet, the thing with Bol is he is very, very raw and has the tool set to be very good. Now, the thing with Bol is his jump shot's a little funky, but we give him a break. He's almost 7'3". He almost has an 8-foot wingspan, for God's sake. So, it is okay. All right? There's nothing wrong with that. The thing with Bol is his defense. Can you really put Bol out there on the court with a guy like Jokic? You can, because of Jokic's offense. On defense, Bol might be a good rim protector just because he has long arms, but if anything, he needs to chop up some meat on him because it's really what can help out this team. And the thing with Bol is he's not really a center in today's NBA just because of his size. Like, he has the skills to be a great center in this league, but physically, as in weight-wise, he just cannot be a center. You can really only play him at the 4 and the 3. And honestly, our backup 3s are most likely better than Bol. And to be honest, our backup 4s are better than Bol Bol right now. People will say Bol Bol's better because of the skill he shows, but in real games, in real moments, not in a regular season game, like in a playoff game, can Bol Bol contribute? Not so much. And if he does, it's going to have to be as a three-point shooter. Now, the thing with Bol is if we can use him more as kind of like and kind of incorporate him into the offense as like a lead ball handler, but not taking more, how do I say this, assignments from Jokic or Jamal. It's more or less him being like a third ball handling option, doing a little bit what he wants to do, but also try to play into the team system. But will Bol do that? Nah. And that's why the Magic really wanted him, because, on the Magic, they'll take anybody. Because, I mean, for God's sake, they took Gary Harris's big contract and was like, yeah, we'll just let you sit on the bench and rot. Like, come on, man. Like, Bol, he's a good player, but, like, he's going to have to step up this season, and I definitely think he's took strides as a player. But overall, right now, Bol Bol is looking like he's going to probably come off the bench this season. Maybe in the future he could be our starting forward if we do extend him, because we did just give him that contract last season, but I mean, hey, the future's bright for Bol. I don't have much to say because he's barely played and it wasn't enough to evaluate him because it wasn't peanut minutes, but hey, I really do like Bol's potential on this team, and he's going to be a good player in the future, hopefully. All right, my fault. One thing I forgot to mention was if Bol evolves more offense, stops trying to take, ISOs on everybody and try to shoot over everybody, which is cool. He's lucky that he's 7'2", because if he was like 5'11", he wouldn't be able to do this. But the thing is that if he evolves more as a team player and fits into the scheme more and kind of plays our offense instead of trying to play his own offense, that's why Bol could probably see more minutes on the court. Otherwise, it's fine to let him, do his thing here and there, but if he tries to do it a lot like he tends to do, then it's not going to work. Because there's plays where Bol, he'll get a cool, crossover on somebody and then make a three-pointer, and then he'll go back out there and try to do the same thing over again, and it's going to, he's going to miss a shot, which is good in theory, but, again, Mike Malone he doesn't like that unless you're a proven guy, kind of like Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. or Jokic, where especially Michael Porter Jr. And I mentioned this in my previous video, I believe. Michael Porter Jr., he'll be high and then he'll start shot chucking. Maybe I didn't mention that, but if you watch the Blazers series, Michael Porter Jr., I think, what was it, game 4? It was one of the road games. We went up to Portland. Michael Porter Jr. dropped 26 points in the first quarter, and then after that, he just kind of started shot chucking over and over again. It's not gonna work. But Bol, he's lucky that he's 7'2" because he can shoot over everybody. Obviously, you can't say, well, if this player is, if he was only this tall, whatever the case may be. Bol's a good player at the end of the day. I like his potential. A lot of people do, and yeah. All right, man. And the next dude we're gonna be talking about is James Wiseman. The thing with James Wiseman is he came into his rookie season only playing 3 games in college, and the last time we really saw him play was in high school. And obviously it's really hard to go off of high school clips and mixtapes and stuff because, well, he was one of the only 7-footers out there, so it was easy for him to dominate everybody. But hey, it is what it is. So to start off the James Wiseman case, he's a really interesting player. Number one, he has the freak tangible, or the attributes we would consider for a dude who is a freak. He's 7'1". He's a 7'6" wingspan. He's athletic for his size. He can move up and down the floor. He's really strong and built. And I mean, if he could turn into a good defender, he has the length, he has the athleticism. If he just puts the caring and the ability to try on defense, he should be fine in the NBA on that end of the floor. And offensively, the Warriors were using him wrong, not gonna lie. I feel like Steve Kerr was using him as a post big when James Wiseman could space out the floor a little bit, take mid-ranges, take threes. Obviously, he's not going to beat you with his passing, but if James Wiseman can just play his game, let him cook, around the perimeter and in the mid-range, and, maybe get up with some more lobs here and there, James Wiseman's offense will be fine compared to what we saw this past season. All right, so this season in 39 games, James Wiseman averaged 11.5 points per game, 5.8 total rebounds, and 0.7 assists on 51.9% shooting from the field, 31.6% from deep, and 62.8% from the free throw line. This all equals to around a 52.2 true shooting percentage and a -2 relative true shooting percentage. All right, so I don't even know where to start really because his case is just so interesting. He had a really up and down rookie year. Now I know a lot of rookies did, like Anthony Edwards and LaMelo even at times, but James Wiseman really had a rocky, he had a roller coaster of a rookie season. Number one, I know I say number one a lot, but what I'm trying to say is that at the start of the season he was injured, was battling through COVID, and he was number one in rookie of the year race, for a period of time. And then again, just injuries and COVID kind of just came through. And then towards the end of the season, he tore his meniscus, and they ended up winning damn near every single game they played after he, got injured. And people was like, oh, is James Wiseman really the difference maker of this team that makes them worse? I mean, you could say that, but the thing with Wiseman is that we're going to talk about when he was healthy. When he was healthy, he was pretty productive for a rookie, you could say. Now, obviously, like I said, it was a roller coaster of a rookie season. So, did he really do much? I wouldn't say he didn't do a lot, but in the same time, he did solid for a rookie. Now, I thought he would have done more. I thought he would have fit this offense a little better, and I thought a lot of people probably would have as well because, I mean, the Warriors drafted him over LaMelo. I said LaMelo should have went to the Warriors. I literally wanted LaMelo to go to the Warriors. I thought it was a perfect fit, but they wanted a center desperately. They got the center that they wanted, because it was the only good center in that past draft. So, I mean, hey, it is what it is. Wiseman kind of fumbled the bag, but man. Hey, yo, my fault. Wiseman wasn't the best center in that draft. Well, I wouldn't say the best center, but he wasn't the only good center in that draft. Isaiah Stewart, he was a really good center in college and forward, I guess, and in the NBA, he's done really, really well so far, and honestly, you could argue that he's better than Wiseman. So, hey, take it for what you want. Now, the thing that I could say for Wiseman to improve this upcoming season, take a step as a player, take more three-pointers, try to incorporate himself in the offense a little more. I know it's going to be rough if they want to use him in the post, but, if he has abilities, during the season to take it out the post, maybe create from the post, maybe, shoot the ball from the mid-range at least, but I want him to shoot more threes, shoot more mid-ranges, take a step on defense, start actually trying on defense, and because last year he was pretty much a negative on defense, and I don't care if you're a Warriors fan, he was a negative on defense if you statistically look at it, you know, if you watch the games and you go off the eye test and film, he wasn't that great on defense either. So maybe take a step on defense. He has all the tools to be a great defender in the league. And yeah, that's really only the thing with Wiseman. You know, it was just a tough rookie season. He didn't fit the offense well, but with Klay coming back, you know, I feel like Wiseman is going to have, you know, a less impact, well, a lesser role on the team. I want to say impact, but a lesser role. He wouldn't be forced to do a lot like he had to do last year, because, I mean, Steph was literally carrying G League players. But, I mean, hey, it is what it is. Wiseman was playing with a bunch of G League, you know, talent around him as well. But it's going to be hopefully a good season for Wiseman this upcoming year, and I'm excited for what the Warriors are going to do. Alright, man, now I'm not going to use any NBA highlights for this dude, because Aiden Mackey, you know, YouTube channel, he made a banger of a mix on this guy right here. And the fourth guy on this list is my son. Yes, my son, RJ Hampton. Now, to be honest, RJ Hampton had a really good rookie season, especially for a 26th overall pick. Like, he had a great rookie season. He impressed a lot of people. Now, I knew he was good. He was good in high school. He was good overseas, you know, and he came to an organization that was already stacked at the guard position in the Nuggets. And I really wish we kept him, but I mean, hey, we got Aaron Gordon out of him, so hopefully Aaron Gordon turns out, you know, well for us. I mean, he has so far, but hopefully he can keep it up, because we just gave him a huge contract the other day. But I mean, RJ Hampton he's so good, man, and I wish we kept him, but it is what it is. You know, he's really electrifying. He's 6'6", he's athletic, he can jump out the gym. You know, his jumpers, you know, improving every single day. You know, his handle's really nice. His defense, you know, shaky at times, but you know, you can't ask for much. But on the Magic, he really showed that he could be the guy. Like, he could be that guy in this league. And to be honest, we're going to go over it real quick. Now, this season, RJ Hampton averaged 6.9 points per game, 3.5 total rebounds per game, 1.7 assists per game, on 43.5 field goal percentage, 31% from 3, and 67.1% from the free throw line. This all equals to around a 50.7% true shooting percentage and a negative 6.5 relative true shooting percentage. Alright, so take these stats with a grain of salt, because number one, he was on a stacked Nuggets team for half the season. And yeah, we're gonna talk about his month of May, really, because he won Rookie of the Month during that month. So yeah, during the month of May, RJ averaged 16 points per game, 7.1 rebounds per game, 5.6 assists per game, and shot 53.5% true shooting percentage. So take it for what you want. The few things with Hampton is, well, he's not the best three-point shooter. Obviously, you can look at his efficiency and be like, yeah, he's a pretty bad three-point shooter. Yeah, it's not that great, but he does have a really good form. So that's why I really hope his three-point shooting will come to life, because I mean, his form is really nice. Defensively, he's I mean, he has the frame to do it. I mean, he's 6'5", 6'6", and has a 6'7" wingspan. So I feel like with that intangibles, you know, in themselves, I feel like he could be a good defender through that sense. And yeah, it's just being consistent on offense, you know, and being efficient. And that's really all I got to say about RJ Hampton. Alright, man, now this dude is my favorite player in this whole video. I mean, he was a wasted talent on the Wizards this past season. If you a Wizards fan, you was probably pissed off too. I mean, coming out of Maccabi Tel Aviv, this dude was like hyped up to be like the next Luka Doncic. I mean, 6'9", is a great passer, is a great defender, you know, can shoot the ball, you know, it's just that kind of generational talent in a sense that like he could be that guy in the NBA that is that great overseas player that everyone will talk about in, you know, the next generations or two. But the thing with Deni is that he was very, and I mean very he was misused this past season. Scott Brooks, terrible coach. I mean, he basically used Deni as a spot-up shooter and would be their best defender, because Deni Avdija, as a rookie, was the Wizards' best defender. So I mentioned his name 2 times already, but if you don't know who this is my boy, Deni Avdija. Now, if you don't like what Deni Avdija said about Palestine, if you think he's a Zionist, click off this video, click off this section, skip, you know, I don't know, whatever you could do, because we're gonna keep the political shit out the side. If you don't like Deni, you don't like Deni. But otherwise, I think Deni seems like a cool dude. But besides that, coming into this season, you know, and coming into the draft, really, he was projected as like the next Luka Doncic to some people, maybe the next Tony Kukoc, you know, that kind of like generational talent from, you know, overseas that could be a great passer in the NBA, is a tall point guard, could do, you know, things on offense and defense that a lot of players can't do in that draft. And I feel like Deni Avdija still is that kind of guy. But do I think the Wizards were able to show that last season? Hell no. I mean, literally, last season, he was literally just a spot-up shooter and played as like a primary defender last year. They did not know how to use him. They couldn't use him correctly. They didn't use him like a point forward. They didn't let him create. They didn't let him create offense for himself or his teammates. They literally let him stand in the corner. And when Deni was able to cook, he literally was cooking. So I'm gonna get into that right now. Last season in 54 games played, Deni Avdija averaged 6.3 points per game, 4.9 total rebounds, and 1.2 assists. He did that all on 41.7 field goal percentage, 31.5% three-point percentage, and 64.4 free throw percentage. That equals to a 51.5 true shooting percentage and a -6 relative true shooting percentage. Now, first off, let's use some context that is very, and I mean very much needed. Number one, in his rookie season, he was on a team with Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal. Yes, he was a rookie playing with Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal. Like, imagine being a rookie and your teammates is Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal. You have to play with those dudes every night. And then coming into the league, analysts and scouts quoted your best thing as being the lead ball handler of a team. On the Wizards, he couldn't be a lead ball handler. He would have to be a third option as a ball handler. And you need Deni to be, like, at least at minimum, a second option as a ball handler on a team. Without Westbrook this season, I feel like Dinwiddie's going to be a little more loose and he's not going to play as ferocious and non-caring as Russ is. So with that being said, Deni's going to have way more opportunities this season. And even Wes Unseld Jr. said Deni is going to be able to play make more and have the ball in his hands more. Because last season, it looked like a mess. This dude was on the wing and in the corner just waiting for the ball getting swung to him so he could just shoot the ball, and he wasn't really that great of a three-point shooter this past season. Now obviously it was a little streaky, inconsistent, but I feel like this upcoming season it will be a little more consistent and not as streaky as it was this past season. But we're gonna have to see. He did end up like fracturing his ankle or something like that, a hairline fracture or something. Yeah, hairline fracture at the end of the season or towards the end of the season. So he's coming off of that, but I feel like he should be fine. I mean, he's 6'9". He's pretty athletic for, you know, his build, I guess, and he's pretty big. He has a solid wingspan. I think his wingspan is the same height as like his actual height, so that's interesting. And then on top of that, he could play make, as I mentioned before. He could pass. He could be a threat to score if he is a little more aggressive. And then on top of that, I mean, he's good on defense. He's literally the Wizards' best defender last season, and they were one of the worst defensive teams in the league, which is sad, asking your rookie to do everything on defense for you because you're so bad that you have Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal just playing pretty mediocre, you know, on that side of the floor last year. All right, so how about this? Deni's stats without Russell Westbrook. Without Russell Westbrook, Deni averaged 11 points per game, 7 rebounds, and 2.2 assists per game. Without Russ, in 6 total career games. And then without Beal, Deni averaged 10.3 points per game, 7.2 rebounds, and 1.3 assists in 9 career games without Bradley Beal. And then in January this past season, I think there was a game against the Heat where they didn't have Bradley Beal or Russell Westbrook, and Deni went off scoring 20 points, having 5 assists and 5 rebounds. And in that game, he showed his ability to create his own shots, create for his teammates, and lead as the main ball handler. Something that he should have done on a team like the Knicks or the Bulls, you know, teams that were supposed to get him originally, in my opinion, but they didn't. And I thought Deni on the Knicks would be amazing, to be honest. I thought if Deni went to the Knicks, he could be easily like a point guard or a small forward for them. Defensively, he helps them out a lot, as that team's already good on defense, especially with Tibbs being the coach. I mean, Deni on that team defensively just makes them even better, and Tibbs will love him, like, honestly. Now, right here is Deni Avdija's usage chart, and it clearly shows he's literally only a spot-up shooter. The Wizards didn't have him do anything last season besides be a spot-up shooter. And when I said earlier in the video that role players are like a huge part of this draft, they truly are. Like, right now, Deni Avdija is really a role player. I think in like Deni's prime or in his peak, he could easily be like a top 3 player on a championship winning team or contending team, at least, you know, as a lead ball handler, a player that could floor raise or ceiling raise, you know, a team through his playmaking ability and through his passing ability. And honestly, if he becomes more aggressive of a scorer, I mean, that would be amazing. Like, Deni Avdija is already like a guy who could easily be a great shot creator and a passer if he's used correctly. In this upcoming season, I think Deni, if he's used correctly, it's over. It really is. Alright, man, but that's the end of the video. It's becoming a long one, probably like 26 minutes long. I'm trying not to have these long videos, but it's making up for me slacking. I do have like a few other videos in the vault, but like I said, right now it's kind of tough, man. It's kind of tough. I mean, I sound sick. I mean, my allergies are just kicking my ass right now, but hey, it is what it is. We gotta stay grinding. Y'all can probably hear me, you know, sniffling, you know, blowing my nose here and there, but I mean, hey, it is what it is. As long as I'm posting, as long as I'm recording, you know, doing this voiceover and stuff, it's fine. It is what it is. But yeah, these are my 5 players I think that could have, you know, a huge step up next season, a huge leap coming into the second year. I think the player who could do the most is honestly Deni. I like Deni a lot. He fits the scheme of today's NBA as like a forward that can do a little bit of everything, especially being 6'9", can
can pass, he can shoot, you know, he can play defense, and he can be able to create his own shot if he really is able to, you know. And I feel like if the Wizards put a good system around him, they have a team around him where he's able to do more now. And without Westbrook, I feel like Deni is able to go off, and he could honestly, you know, be in the race for the most improved player. I know second-year players don't genuinely get it, or generally, they don't generally get it, but I mean, hey, Deni could be in that, you know, top 10, you know, race for most improved player. I know that's like a huge hot take, but I mean, hey, it ain't a Jew video if there ain't no hot take in it, and that's a hot take. I think Deni could end up top 10 in most improved player voting if he stays healthy and if they use him correctly. But that's the end of the video. You know, I'm out. Peace.